Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care Network. My name is Candace Gish. I'm the founder of this program and the host of this show. You know what? I am so excited that each and every one of you has tuned in today's program. If this is your very first time, a big welcome to you. The Divas That Care has been going now for 10 years. We have a variety of amazing programs. We have 11 hosts on our network, and you can listen to all of their shows at divasthatcare.com. Well, let's get started, everyone. I'm excited. I'm going to be introducing you to Susan Isaac. And Susan is just the most amazing woman. You know, I have been getting to know her. Her and I have been talking, and then I've been learning so much. And I just love what she's doing. And you are going to love her too. So I don't want to really tell anything about her because I want Susan to share a little bit about herself. So Susan, welcome to the program today.
Thank you, Candace. I am so excited to be here. But before I mention anything about myself, I just have to let you know that I went down the Divas That Care rabbit hole today, and I couldn't get myself out. I just went, they do this, and you do this, and I can subscribe to this and get book recommendations, and you have interns, and I already knew about your books, but I just couldn't help myself. I was hours on both of your websites.
Aww.
And I can honestly say that you truly are a full-service diva community.
Oh, thank you so much. You know what? We have a lot of fun in the Divas, and, you know, they're always all the people that are involved in this program really have a heart of gold, and they just want to make the world a better place. So thank you so much for saying that.
Yes. Well, I was so how can I say it? I love what you're doing, and I will try and contain myself in the future and not go down the rabbit hole for hours. It's very tempting anyway.
It is, just definitely. I always say that every time I listen to one of the other hosts even interviewing their guests, you know, I just love it. I love everything that they're talking about, so I completely understand. But enough of that. Susan, why don't you share a little bit about yourself with us today?
Okay, I will. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself using an introduction that I use if I'm speaking on the stage, because I'm very committed to helping women, especially uplift women, and definitely help to bring more joy and courage and connection into people's lives. And so I do this in a number of different ways, but I'll use this intro and then we can go from there. My purpose grew from a lifetime of doubting my inner voice while I frantically looked to others to flesh out a persona, and the fire in my belly was dying. After my third burnout and 18 months of silence and recovery, I took my parched soul to my abandoned studio and asked the goddess of fire, Pele, to bring my creative spirit back into my life. After many late nights and shredded fingertips, my wild woman reappeared. They both asked if I was willing to bleed for my soul even more than my fingertips. I dropped to my knees and said, "Hell yes, now what?" And butterflies came into my life as a symbol of transformation and design at that time. My one-of-a-kind You Can Fly Butterfly and Be Yourself pendant designs celebrate how women transform their lives as they live their unique stories. I use a 6,000-year-old glass art technique called fused glass to create powerful symbols of women's stories that can be worn close to the heart. It's very important to me that my designs uplift and bring more joy, courage, and connection into people's lives to reignite and celebrate the human spirit. And soon, my one-of-a-kind glass designs will be transformed into gifts that can be worn, decorate your home, or be given as meaningful mementos on any occasion. My newest collections is called Courage, Hope, and Strength. And the aim is to encourage one to stand bravely in the darkest of days, which might be very appropriate in the age of COVID, find hope to see one's way through to the light, and find inner strength to take the first step on a new journey. As for me, this new venture involves more bleeding from my soul and fingertips, more collaboration with the goddess of fire of Pele and my wild woman, and quite honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.
I love that. That was absolutely brilliant.
Well, I wanted to just tell you a little bit more about the science and art of what I do and how I've combined my love of storytelling and really my connection that I've had for decades to really help women celebrate how far they've come in life and all the possibilities to come. I've been doing it for a very long time. And then to combine that with the science and the art of fused glass as well, and then my love of nature. And one other point that goes into the new line that's being created, which will all be up online as opposed to in my studio. So that's another transition, is going from in-person artist in studio to online, I'm revealing the hidden world. I used to teach oral microbiology. I did it for decades, and I fell in love with the microscope and seeing deep and in close. And I really, really appreciate that aspect of nature. When we walk down a pathway, what are the bugs doing on the grass beside where you're walking, and the dew that's on their body, and what are they eating? I love that micro world, and then the glass world as you layer all the pieces of glass and then fire it hot in the kiln. I use 4 or 5 layers in my pendants. You can actually see deep down and see all the different layers of bubbles and the different layers of glass. And that's really important, that when people look at the side of my pendant, it looks like the universe has been frozen in ice through the clear glass. Oh. And so I've kind of done an alchemy of all the things in the micro world that I'm interested in, and the journey into the inner soul, that type of micro journey as well.
Well, I can definitely hear the passion in your voice, and I love that. And I love what glass looks like. I'm a big collector of glass. And when you look at it, it's absolutely amazing. And to know that you're doing this and you're creating designs. But I like what you were saying, too. You're taking these designs and now you're putting it on fabric. What made you decide to do that?
A good question. My niece, Megan, said something to me a number of years ago, and it turned my world around and upside down. She said, Auntie Susan, I love your pendants, but they're very expensive for someone who's just starting out in an administration job. I can't really afford to give your pendants to my friends as birthday presents or anything like that. But if there was a scarf or a headband or something smaller that your designs were on, then I could give that to everyone in the office. And I've never looked back since. I just couldn't stop thinking about her request and her comment, and I decided to start researching and looking at how could I take a one-of-a-kind design, because once a pendant's sold, it's never repeated, so it's gone forever.
Yeah.
And how could I take that one-of-a-kind design and translate it into things like scarves, pillows, duvet covers, wall art, for your iPhone, a journal, the front of the journal notepad, for example.
Yeah.
And yet, my guarantee is that anyone who purchases my one-of-a-kind pendants will never see that design repeated in glass. It'll be repeated in other designs and other items, but never in glass.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And what a neat thing. And you also teach some workshops around this, and you do a lot of mentoring. You know, I find that there's a lot of different facets when, learning more about you. And you're doing so much, not just for yourself, but really for a community of individuals.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that for sure, and I can't help myself. Having been a teacher, a college and university teacher for decades, I can take anything, and the first thing I say when I see a new idea is, I wonder how I could teach that. And my husband just puts his hands over his eyes. He's incredibly supportive, but he's not a teacher. He's an introvert, and he'd rather stand in front of a truck than teach. And he goes, Susan, you don't even know how to do that yet, and you're talking about teaching it. And I said, yeah, but if I take one class, I'll know more than my students. He just, at that point, he's running down the driveway from the studio screaming at that point. But that is just part of how I'm wired and how I like to help other people. If I'm seeing the beauty and the joy of watching the glass to come together and change, because once you fire glass, it's never the same, and you've got to let go. When you put that kiln down, you plan with a computer program. Every one of my kilns has a computer on it. You have to program it. You have to try and control the heat as best you can so your piece doesn't shatter, and you get the outcome you want. But the bottom line is heat changes everything, and you have to let go. It's a complete transformation of me, and the glass is never the same after it's heated up, and I'm never the same, and it's a lesson in letting go every single time. So it's quite a process to come through that metamorphosis, and I can't help myself. I have to share that with people and let them fire pieces in my kilns and make something and try an art form that they've never, ever tried before. So I love doing the teaching part as well.
Well, and, I can understand that. Honestly, I wish I was closer to you so that I could partake in one of your courses, in one of your classes, because, I was in Nova Scotia once, and I was walking in Halifax, and I came across, they were blowing glass at the time, and I was so enthralled with this, and I thought, if I ever had the opportunity to go to a workshop where people were working with glass so I could learn some type how they do it, I would just be honored to be a part of that. And when you're talking like this, it's the journey of it. And I love how you were saying that you've made something, but you're learning to let it go, because really you're putting your heart and your soul into a piece of, jewelry, a piece of art, and then you are passing it on to somebody else. And that's got to be such a hard thing, a very difficult thing to do.
It actually isn't a hard thing to do, and you've asked a very common, good question. And here's why I don't find this difficult. And I have certainly spoken to many artists who find it very difficult. So there's lots of different types of artists. But what it is I never create alone. I open up my energy channels, if you will, my spirit, and I ask the goddess of fire, Pele, to design with me. And I actually go through a sequence of songs in order to get into that meditative place of creation. And nobody can change the order of the songs. It has to be exactly the same order all the time. And it's 5 songs, and they can't change. And that opens me up. And everybody has, you listen to sports figures who how they get into the zone before they start their game. Most athletes do this. It's very common, and artists do it too. And so I bring in the goddess of fire, Pele, and then we design together. And when I'm finished, it was never really mine to begin with. It was shared right from the start. And if I'm going to keep something, I actually have to mentally and emotionally gift it to myself after it's created and not before. So everything goes out the door and is shared unless I personally gift myself. So that's my process.
I love that. That is so neat. I've never heard anybody say that before.
To me, it's a group effort. And it comes from a very old, I think it's an old Greek concept, and Elizabeth Gilbert speaks about this in her TED Talk, her first TED Talk that she did, about geniuses. And what it was in old Roman and old Greek times is that their belief was that geniuses, which were kind of like little angels floating around, they came and they helped you create. And that's how art was done in those days. So if something went really well, you couldn't take full credit because you had all these geniuses that were helping you. And if something went terribly wrong, you were never completely to blame for it either. So she spoke about that concept, and I've kind of taken some of that language from Elizabeth Gilbert because I invented this whole imaginary world of and real for me in a creative sense of the goddess of fire Pele, because I've got 5 kilns in my studio, so very much it's all about fire and being surrounded by these cavernous kilns that are kind of like the womb of a woman. And the goddess of fire is kind of like the fire in our womb. And one day I turned around and I went, gee, I'm not, am I in touch with my wild woman self? It was when I was having my corporate breakdown and my soul was completely parched, as the story said. And I looked around the studio, and I had a girlfriend came in one day, and I said, I really have to get my wild woman back. I've lost her. I don't know where she is. And she pointed her finger around my studio, and she said, for crying out loud, look around you. You've got the womb of women completely surrounding you. And the goddess of fire, Pele, just came into my imagination at that point, and we danced together. And I think it takes a village to create art, and the more I can include people in my process, the happier I am. I also take my pendants and put them on Facebook or get women together with a nice bottle of wine, and I ask them to name my pendants. And it's the first thing that comes into people's minds, like it's that knee-jerk first emotional reaction that's the best name. And then I might get 20 names, and then I just use my intuition to pick the right one for that piece, and the right name always appears. So I take it takes a village concept to create art even further by asking people to help me once I've created the piece as well.
I really like that idea. That is absolutely brilliant. Way to go on that. Oh, my goodness.
Well, I would hate to name all my pieces myself.
Well, I was thinking that. I was like, that's going to be a challenging thing to do.
And I don't have to worry about it because I just ask other people to do it for me.
You don't. Well, another thing that's happening with you right now, Susan, is that you are doing a rebranding, or you're branding yourself. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that and why you decided to do what you're doing.
To do the branding, you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
What made you decide to do that and go online and, do, the next step of your journey? Why did you decide to do that and do it now?
I decided to do it because I want my designs to be accessible to many. And as long as I was doing the one-of-a-kind pendants, that was never going to happen. And so going online and making everything more accessible was in my mind's eye. And it's like when you go online, especially, people are very visual, and we don't read well vertically. We use a different part of the brain to do that. And so the wording on websites and everywhere that you go with social media needs to be as minimal as possible. And that's because of human beings being wired the way that we are. And we relate to video as well. I mean, look how popular YouTube is, and so helpful if you want to learn how to do anything. So those are the components of going online, and therefore I wanted to make sure that my heart is out there communicating to people what I really feel about my pieces, because they're not going to hear it from me in person in a workshop or at a show, or whether I'm on stage. So I need to be clear and concise with beautiful, beautiful visuals. So the branding, meaning to me, clear, concise message that's consistent all the way across everything you do to express yourself as an artist or a business person. So why now is because I'm finally fulfilling Megan's vision of being able to give gifts to everyone in her office. And I'm ready to go online, and I have the support of another tribe, another community. I find it very interesting that developing a community, and it's the people along the way in a journey that matter, not the destination. I've always believed that.
Yes.
And now what's come to me is a business opportunity where One Voice Institute, they are business incubators and a brain trust for quite a few different global clients, corporate included. They do amazing volunteer work, and they saw, especially with COVID, that Vancouver Island artists just overnight lost their income. And they said, this isn't right. COVID be damned. Let's start a huge online marketplace for Vancouver Island. Everything, not just visual artists like myself, but digital artists, performing artists, writers. They call them ambassadors to Vancouver Island, people that run fishing charters, people that make honey and meaderies and wineries. There's 9 different channels, if you will, for this huge community marketplace. And they will business incubate you and help you get up onto their global platform. And so I'm being incubated right now, and I feel very much like I feel like I'm in the gestation stage of my life and of my business, because all what you might call all the components that need to be in place to really have a global presence, I'm getting the support for all the gaps in my skill set. I should be working in what I call my zone of genius, which again Elizabeth Gilbert defines really well, which is my level of pure creativity. And I'm quite willing to work in my zone of excellence, which would be skills that I'm very, very good at and very practiced, but it's maybe not my complete creative genius. But I should not be working at my level of competence or incompetence. If I want to be at a global level, those skills need to be done by people who are in their zone of genius. And I have to tell you, I was absolutely shocked to see the sparkle in my bookkeeper's eyes when I handed her my taxes. Because to me, that is, that's like just rake me over, cut glass, please, but don't give me bookkeeping. So I collect everything in little boxes, and I use little labels that she's asked me to use, and my accountant said, put this in this category. And okay, I have little boxes for everything. And then I pack it up at the end of the year, and I give it to her, and she has sparkles in her eyes. And I went, oh my God, somebody's zone of genius is bookkeeping. Yeah. And that was not a direct insight for me initially. And so I want to give all of the things that are my level of incompetence and competence to other people who it's their zone of genius. And when you're in a business incubator or you're in an organization where they've got talent coming from all different, places in life, somebody's going to help you that has sparkles in their eyes so that I get to keep the sparkle in my eyes.
That is so important. I want to do a big shout out to this market that you're talking about. And I hope that when everything is done and you've got everything up and about, you send us that information so that we can share it with all of our tribe out there, because I think that it's amazing that there is individuals out there that are doing this for, artists like yourself. I think it's brilliant. So Thank you so much for sharing that.
And sorry to talk over you. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was going to say, I know that our show is winding up right now, and I wanted to say that, could you share with all of our listeners today your website, your social media, so that they can go check it out? I will be posting it after our program, but I want you to share it with them.
Sure. And the ISLA Collective, which is the business incubator volunteer Vancouver Island group, if anyone is listening from Vancouver Island, you may be surprised that you really would be eligible to be part of this wonderful community. I gave you the link so that if anyone wants to join, the collective, they can do that. And this collective will be going well beyond Vancouver Island once Vancouver Island is completed. They will be going to other provinces and other countries. So I will make sure that your tribe stays connected so that if they can participate in this as the expansion occurs, that there'll be an opportunity for them as well. And my website is susanisaacdesign.com. And as you mentioned, you'll put that on your show. And my tech, because again, talk about zone of incompetence, there's one for me right there. He made a store on my website just recently where people can look at my pendants and actually purchase my pendants. And I've done a COVID sale for the items that I have right now, so people can see what I make and how, and a little bit about how I do it.
Oh, that's perfect. And I will definitely be posting that on our social media. Well, Susan, thank you so much for being my amazing guest today. I had a lot of fun learning everything that you're doing. I'm so proud of you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the encouragement because I'm about to lose every knuckle again, and I don't even have sensory. I don't even have feelings at the tip of my fingers anymore. My fingers have been shredded so many times that when I try to go across to increase the volume on a tablet, I don't always succeed because there's no sensation there anymore. So I'm about to shred, and Pele will make sure my soul goes along with it, and I drop to my knees again and go, hell yes. So I'm scared, but I have lots of support. So yeah. I'm going to do it anyway, Candace.
Oh, I love it. I love it, Susan. Thank you so much for sharing that with me because, you know, it's been such a pleasure, and I can't wait to, you know, follow what you're doing. I love your website, by the way, and I'm looking forward to learning more about your pendants and perhaps getting my own because I think I would love to have one.
Well, I would be very honored for you or any of your listeners to have a look at my pendants. And just to let you know, to tease you just a bit, I do custom pendants, meaning I take a woman's energy and do a small video beforehand with them telling me what colors they want and what emotion they want in the piece. And then Pele and I create, you pick the colors of glass. I can do that in a video and send you the video on YouTube. And then Pele and I create your pendant, then you pick the shape and I cut it out for you, you name it, and that it becomes a piece of you that's sitting on your neck, not me. So I do a custom process if people are interested. It's something, I've done 9 of them so far, and I do video stories, and because I'll do a video at the end where you'll tell me more about why you chose those colors and what that pendant means to you. And it's as different as every woman on the planet.
Exactly. It's a very personal thing. Oh, well, you know what? To all of our listeners, you know, make sure you check that out because I really like that idea. So I'm going to be checking that out myself. But, oh, my goodness. Well, Susan, thank you so much for sharing that with all of us today. And as I said, I can't wait to have you maybe back on our program again. I know that you and I are going to be collaborating on some other projects in the future. So I'm looking forward to that also.
I am too, and I'm getting on Amazon today and finishing my order of Journeys of Discovery and Grow for Your Leadership. I can't wait to read all your books and go down, and I will go down a rabbit hole when I'm not quite this busy. I'll go down your rabbit hole again because I want to learn more about all your amazing divas and all your hosts for your podcast. And I'm getting your book recommendations from now on. I'm not buying a book without looking at your recommendations from now on. So I'm looking forward to being a bigger part of your community in any way I can.
Thank you. Oh, that is wonderful. Thank you so much, Susan. I really appreciate that. And you know what? I want to do a big shout out to all of you amazing listeners that have tuned in today. You know what? Go and check out Susan's amazing website. Go check out what she is doing. Her fused glass is just extraordinary. I love the pictures that I've seen. You know, and as you can hear, you can hear the passion in Susan's voice today. She's just an amazing woman. So make sure you check her out, support her, and support all of our other divas out there at divasthatcare.com. You know what? They are just amazing women that come onto our program, and we're just so thankful that they're a part of our tribe along with all of you. So I hope that all of you have a fantastic day and that you do something kind for somebody out there. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.